This episode of Around the Grounds with Chocco is brought to you by Central Murray Live, 1332 3SH and 107.7 Mix FM. Welcome to Around the Grounds with Chocco this evening, and geez, I'm got a very, very special guest. This time, I've decided to change the size of the ball, and I've gone from oval to round, and we're going to jump and talk netball this episode. And well, when you talk netball in the region, I reckon this person's name comes up every time, and I talk about Roey Bice. Roey, welcome to Around the Grounds.
Hi, Chocco. How are you?
I'm great, and it's great to talk to you because you've done a power of work in the region, and I want to reminisce of the good times that you've done. But tell us, it all started back at Naya West, and I'm not going to say how long ago, but back when you used to play netball on grass courts.
I did. I started juniors at Naya West on grass courts playing in the fourths. I didn't see many ankles done then, but my goodness, if you played on grass courts these days, you'd see a lot of ankles being done. But yeah, that's where I started, on the grass courts in the red and black uniforms.
What was it like playing on grass courts back then, Roey? Like what?
Oh, look, the game was so much slower. And it was okay. I mean, you didn't know any different. And we were only club, I think, in the league that played, well, not initially, but we finished up, we were the last ones with on grass courts before we sort of moved to when I went down to United on the asphalt courts. But I remember training at Naya West when we made finals, we'd go down to Naya because they had asphalt courts. So obviously most of the other clubs in the league, when we still had grass, they had asphalt.
And how did they mark the lines
with
back then?
Powder, like those footy grounds.
Powder like they did with the footy?
Yep, the guys would come over and line them on a Thursday night for us.
So back then, Naya West, small community, and then only down the road there was Naya. What was it like playing so close to your enemies back then?
Oh, well, no different to any other two clubs playing close together, really. There was, a lot of competition, put it that way, a lot of competition. Yeah. I felt Naya West was stronger in the netball anyway at that time, but, you make it what it is, really.
Now, you were part of Naya West and then you made your way up to what they called the first, before it was called A grade. What was it like going from a junior into playing first, and who were some of the players you played with and basically looked up to?
Some of the senior players at that time that were our coaches in juniors was one I can recall was a lady by the name of Jill Boyle. She married Gary Isles, who used to play footy at Naya West. She was a junior coach. Well, she was playing seniors. There's a lot of names out there. My sister Josie played out there in the seniors. There was a girl, Walters, Roberts. There's lots of names, Chocco, that then probably not a lot of people are around here these days. Roders, that's a real Naya West name. They played netball for Naya West. There's probably not a lot of Naya West names left. There's still a lot of Naya or United names still around. When you talk O'Brees and ones like that.
So it all happened, 1978? The amalgamation, Naya West joined Naya and became United, Naya West United Football Netball Club back then. Yep. What was it like, part of that amalgamation back then?
Oh, look, I guess I was only reasonably young and I just went with the flow. I know there was a lot of animosity between the two towns and different ones, not everyone. A lot of people supported it. A lot of people didn't support it. To me, it didn't make a big difference, I guess. The only thing was the games were played at Naya, the majority of them. And when you got your own club at heart, you'd prefer not that to happen. But anyway, it did, and that it went from there. And you played your game, and yeah.
Now, let's talk 1978. You played off in a grand final under a coach by the name of Norm Campbell.
Yes.
What was Norm like for your for that year, and tell us a bit about his coaching methods?
He was a lovely person. He was very strong, very regiment in what he wanted. He wasn't soft. He was very hard on us. I guess he didn't know a real lot about the game, but he brought us together as a team, and he wanted us to strive hard but work hard. And I still recall him saying at training, to have a good piece of steak for dinner on the Friday night. He was back. He wanted to build us up and get all the good irons into us and things like that. So he had to eat well. And the food that he'd be telling us to eat, you wouldn't eat these days.
Yeah.
Not before a game. Yeah.
And obviously that was a big accomplishment for the club, like coming together. And then, in 1978, you played off in a grand final. Can you remember the game much and who you played in 78?
I don't remember the game much. I remember a lot of my teammates, but I don't remember the game much, no. But it was just an accomplishment to get to a grand final, really.
Now, 79, you ventured into Tintinda, where you've been ever since. What was the reason you made the move to come into Tintinda in 79?
It was my brother-in-law, actually. He was coaching at Tintinda, John Boyd. And I wouldn't say enticed me, but it was convenient. I was I could travel with them to football, with Jose and John to football. And he had good vibes at Tintinda, and they were quite a strong club. So it was quite enticing for me. I worked in town, so it was going to be easy for training. So, I made the move into Tintinda, and, here I am.
And part of that journey with Tintinda, you're involved as, and we'll talk a little bit more, but, you played in finals, you were successful winning premierships. What was it that, and Tintinda have always been a strong netball club. Why is it that they've always had that success along the way?
Well, I put it down when I moved there, and then for many years thereafter, to a really, really, really good coach that they had there in Mari Macumba. Mari coached a lot of the senior teams. She quite often would coach junior teams too. She was just a fantastic leader on and off the court. She'd get everybody together. Everybody appeared, happy, and she was just a really, really strong leader. And then behind the scenes, you had good people in Judy Holdsworth and Dawn Carroll who were running the club, Jan Free, and it was just a strong club. The whole box and dice was strong. Now,
part of your playing career, and then you moved to coaching. What made you move to coaching?
I was asked to coach one of my nieces in the city, Allen Garden teams. It was only a little, I don't know, under whatever, 11s, 13s or something. And my girls are only very little at that point. And I coached this team, and I can still remember it. They wore green uniforms. I just loved it. I loved it from the start of the season to the finish of the season, to see how well those kids had done and to see the excitement on their faces as well as their mothers and fathers watching them from the start to the finish. They had just come such a long way, and we made finals that year, and it was amazing. And I thought, this is what I want to do. I want to coach kids. I want to coach them and see those faces again, and just implement good strategies and good skills into them. Yeah.
And that obviously prolonged your passion for junior development and working with juniors, particularly in netball. What were some of the things, and were particular people that you modelled your coaching around, or was it just you just went out and felt? And what were some of the things that you really focused on, particularly around development of kids?
Well, the inspiration to me was Mari Macumba. She was just a fantastic leader and she was a fantastic friend. One of the main things I focused on in kids was their footwork and their passing. And if they could get those right, they were going to go a long way. Any team was. If they could get their footwork and their passing right and they listened, they would go a long way. And that's what I honed on.
And is that been the message that you've constantly used the whole way? Because it's obviously worked because you've been
that's been the basis of it. Yeah, that's been the basis of it. I mean, any kid, I don't know in other sports, but I know in netball, if you've got your feet work right and your passing is right, there's so many different passes, you're gonna be a step ahead.
Now,
and especially back in with juniors, you've got to go right back to the basics. So if they can get the basics right, then they can start to move forward.
Now, have you seen a difference in the pathways since when you've been involved with junior development to now? Do you believe that the sport offers a lot more now than what it did?
Do you mean going forward into country big stuff, or just meaning in the league?
Just in general, obviously you see a lot of opportunities now within a league and Murray region and that. Have you seen the game progress from a junior development perspective over the years?
Look, unfortunately, I'd nearly have to say no to that. I felt it was very difficult even when I was there and the kids that was around when I was coaching. There was excitement to get to league and then, get to Melbourne to get to the state finals and then maybe asked to come back to a development squad. I don't know that it's changed much. I hate saying it, but I just don't know that the city kids didn't have the more opportunities. They were under coaches' eyes all the time. And it was very, very difficult for any country kid to break through. Very difficult. And I don't know that it's much different now.
And do you see do you see that changing? Or how do you think that could change going forward?
I don't know if it could change for country kids. I think the country kids have to make the move and be make the move not so much to the city, but maybe to Bendigo to play in a Bendigo side, which travels to Melbourne.
Yeah.
You've got to be under the coach's eyes, and that's at State Netball Centre.
Have you? And I guess the thing is, Roey, with all the coaching you've done, has there been any players? Can you tell straight away that they've got it? That they've got something special that others don't?
Probably not as a young junior, but it doesn't take long to come through. You can sort of see that they've got skill, but it's the want. It's the want to do it. They want to listen. They want to improve. Yeah, it's the real want that you can see in kids, and they're the ones that are going to go through.
Now, you've had some great accomplishments across the way, and you've been a life member of the Tintinna Footy Club and Netball Club. But I don't think a lot of people realise this, but the Identity of the Year, Central Murray, have every year, and it's been running since 1981. It took 30 years before you were the first female winner. How proud did it feel knowing that women, I guess, have been noticed in sport, but the contribution you've put? Tell us a bit about that honour to win that Identity of the Year.
I can still clearly recall the night, actually, Chocco, at the town hall. It was a lovely night, and I had no idea. Obviously, my family all knew. And it's not something you go to, the vote count, unless you really got a bit of a reason to go to it. Although I always like to go to them and just to see what's going on and that. But I think it was one or two of my girls said, yeah, they'd come. And I still didn't really register anything. And then when they started the announcement of this award, and they said this person started off playing on grass courts, and I thought, maybe this might be, and yeah, the more they read out, I thought, well, yeah, I have done a bit, but that doesn't mean anything to me. It's because I've loved doing it. I may have achieved a lot over the time, but it's because I love it. That's why.
And And I guess for a lot of role models and like, you know, you join the greats of the Jack Betts and there's so many numbers. But I think for you, you set the precedence for everyone because after you winning that award in 2011, 5 other women have won that award since. So I think recognising what they do, both football and netball, how important is football and netball in community community regions?
In the country, it's just huge. It's huge. And to see the football and netball come together over the last few years is fantastic. I mean, it was, you know, you didn't know any different when it was separate, but to see it come together and see families now at functions, it's really good. It's really taken off.
Now you're a parent, you're a grandmother,
Yeah.
and your daughters Tegan and Hannah and Bridget now have followed your footsteps. How proud is it to sit now and watch them accomplish some great things like you have?
Oh, that's hard to describe, really. Yeah, that makes me choke up a little bit to see what the kids have achieved. They've had some huge injuries through their times, especially Tegan. Or Hannah's done a knee as well as Teagues. Teagues has done 2 knees and her Achilles, so they're pretty big injuries. And then to come back from them, I can't be proud of the girls. They've done a fantastic job. Bridge moved away, loved her social life at uni and decided not to come back and play her netball. But to sit, as Mark and I have done over many years, to sit on the sides of the court and watch them, it's pretty good.
Do you find it hard? And I know you're very vocal, and you're vocal in a great way because you're so passionate. But do you find a balance between coaching and being a parent?
I hope I do.
Well, I think you do, but how do you feel on the sidelines? You know, do you let them learn by their experiences, or are you there to guide them along the way?
No, look, they ask if they feel they need to ask, but I don't just tell them. I only offer support or advice to them when they ask. But it's more bouncing things off one another. You know, what did you think? That type of thing. I certainly don't tell them they should have done this or they should have done that. I have been honoured when both the girls have coached A-grade and successfully coached A-grade premierships. They've both asked me to sit on the bench for them. That's only just, I think, for moral support and, again, just to bounce something off if necessary. And you know, most of the games I've sat there and haven't had to say much. But, yeah, it's lovely sitting there with them and to see what they've achieved.
Now, Roey, if you had to sit back, and we've spoken about your what you've done for the region, if you had to describe it in one word, how would you describe it?
Awesome, I suppose. Yeah. It's a love. It's actually a love. You know, yeah, it's just a love of the game, love of seeing kids develop, and just to have so many friendships come out of it. It's been fantastic.
Well, Roey, I would have to agree with you because you're passionate. You love your sport. We love seeing you around. You're great to chat to, and you've done a power of work in the region, and you deserve to be congratulated. Thank you for joining me on Around the Grounds with Chocco. It's been a privilege, and I hope you've enjoyed the chat.
Thanks, Chocco. Thanks for asking me. Thank you very much.
Well, there you have it. Roey Bice with me tonight on Around the Grounds with Chocco. Stay tuned. We're going to have another special guest this time next week.